Hey, Sweet Peas, Basic Prepper Mom Myra. So there seems to be this kind of ramping up of going and talking at school board meetings and board of supervisors and kind of this whole freedom fighter thing that's going on right now. And I understand it, I do. And maybe it's because school started up right now, and school board meetings are just kind of coming back from summer break and starting to meet and implement things. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the public school system. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you and say that I have fought the fight for years. My youngest just graduated high school last year. Thank goodness I don't have any children in the school system now. But we suffered through the whole COVID thing with my two youngest kids. They went through the whole shutdown, lockdown thing with the school. We went through all of that. I went to every school board meeting. I fought for 3 years. I've actually been fighting longer than that for other things, but I've been fighting for the whole, COVID thing that happened. For 3 years, I would go to every school board meeting. I would talk to whoever would listen to me. I would fight. I would have my facts. I would do everything that I needed to do. And I got to be honest and say that I am just exhausted. Like, I am exhausted. I don't want to fight this fight anymore. And there's so much more, because it's like you get one fight done and you put that fire out and then something else happens. And now it's a whole nother issue. Now it's a whole parental rights issue with transgender and this, that, and the other, and everything else, and pronouns and all that. And it's just so much. And I have people now that are reaching out to me saying, hey, I know you do a monthly group. Why don't we get together and merge and really fight this? And I had to say no today. I had to say that's not what my group is about, and I'm exhausted. I did agree to meet with them and listen and talk and see how I can help, but I don't want to get involved anymore. And I know that sounds really horrible, and I know that sounds very counterproductive of what I do and what I talk about all the time, but let me explain. I believe that we are past the point of fighting. I believe that we are past the point of changing. I believe that we are past the point in making change of anything that's going on right now. I think we are so far gone that we're not coming back from it. Now, having said that, I do believe that we still have to have those freedom fighters. We still have to have those right fighters out there that are still going to voice their opinion, that's still going to make noise, that are still going to stand up. I'm not saying that we need to lay down and just kind of roll over and go, it is what it is. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that we do need to have, sorry, my phone's being weird. We do need to have those right fighters and those freedom fighters that are still going to make noise and are still going to stand up to let them know that we're not laying down and we don't agree with this. But behind the scenes, we need to make a new system. That's literally the answer. Leave the old system and start a new system. Pull your kids out of public school. If you're a teacher, if you're an educator, if you're whatever in public school, get out of public school. If that's what you choose to do, get out of public school, go work for a charter school, start your own homeschool group, start your own tutoring group, whatever you have to do. Get out of the public school system. If this is not something that you feel that you need to be involved with, if you don't feel that this is something that you need to do, if you feel that this is not right for you, and if you feel that you need to continue to fight for your children, then get them out of that system. We need to start a new system, not just for education either. That's not what I'm saying. We need to have a whole new system, because it doesn't matter who we vote in. It doesn't matter who we get. It doesn't matter who we talk to, who we yell at, who we protest in front of, who we pass mandate. It doesn't matter. That is not going to matter anymore, because we're beyond that. We're beyond fixing anything at this point. We need to have a new system. And I honestly, truly believe that this whole system is going to collapse. I honestly believe, this is what I believe, my opinion here. I can believe what I want, but I honestly believe that we are going to see a huge division in this country, not just amongst the people in this country. I honestly believe that we are going to see a division take place, where lines are going to be drawn and territories are going to be drawn, if that's what you want to call them. And we are going to see a complete shift in everything. I honestly believe that the United States of America is not going to be the United States of America as we know it right now. I do believe that we will have a division. And I do believe that there will be different countries or sections or however it's going to look. But I definitely think that there's going to be a division. My thing right now is that's fine, but we need to prepare for that. That's part of the preparedness, is preparing yourself and your family for what's coming down the line, but also preparing your community. And that's why we make the community connections. Because when things do go bad, when things do go south, we not only have those community resources to count on to get other resources from, right? But we're looking at a community of like-minded people that may have to band together and start their own communities, start their own system. We're not going to fight the system because the way things are going, because of the direction that people are taking things. We're not going to change the system. What we can hope for now is that we start a new system. So there has to be those right fighters. There has to be those freedom fighters up front that are still going to make noise, that are still going to make people say, hey, we're not leaving, this isn't right. And some people might actually turn and come that direction, but we're still not going to get enough to change the system. So we've got those right fighters, we've got those freedom fighters that out front, behind the scenes, we need to be looking at a new system. We need to be looking at doing things differently. And when I say differently, I don't mean reinvent the wheel. I mean, we need to look at our forefathers. And I'm not talking about political or constitution wise. We need to look at how people used to live and go back to basics. We need to look at smaller schools or homeschooling or charter school, whatever that looks like. We need to look at a smaller system for food. We need to look at the farmers and the ranchers and locally to provide that food for us. We need to look at our local community for help with fixing things or automotive repair or whatever the situation. We need to start going back to basics, and I think that's where we're going to find ourselves. And those that can go back to basics, those that can go back in time, so to speak, and do things like the old days, they're going to be the ones to survive. The ones that can't do things like that have to rely on bigger corporations, that have to rely on the grocery stores, that have to rely on the public schools, that have to rely on corporations or the government to tell them what they can do, when they can do it, how much they can have, those are going to be the people that have a really difficult time. The ones that are starting a new system, that's what we have to look at. When I went to, and I've told the story before, we had I would say right before the whole COVID incident, there was a freedom kind of group that had started in my county. And at one point it had got up to huge, like probably a couple hundred people were coming to meetings. And one of the gentlemen that actually started this group, at one point at one of the meetings, he had mentioned that we might have to be looking at a parallel society in order to survive. We may have to look at a completely separate society that does things differently just to survive and be out of the norm, get out of the circus, so to speak. And the minute he said that, and I don't think anyone else in there caught it, but the minute he said that, I thought, that's what I've been saying this whole time. And this was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't even know now, 3 years ago. But I think that's what we're looking at. We need to look at a different system. We need to look at a new system, a new old system, because we need to just take it back and go back to the old days. I think that we have gone so far forward so fast, especially with all the AI stuff that's out there. I think that society is going to find themselves in a very, very dark place, in a really bad situation, and I think that people are going to find themselves there as well. So we need to go back to basics, and if y'all want to if you want to stay with this system, if you want to do all the old technology AI stuff, good luck to you. But the rest of us, when that goes bad, we'll be able to survive because we know how to do things. And I think that's what we need to look at. And I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what side you're on. I don't care what your religious views are. I don't care who, what, where, when, why, how you are. I don't care. What I do care about are those like-minded people that knows that the way that society is heading and the direction that we're going right now can no longer sustain itself, or will not be able to sustain itself that much longer. That's what we need to be looking at. We need to realize that as we progress, that we are progressing either too quickly, or we are progressing not at a viable rate. So we need to kick it back, just drop it back a little bit, slow it down, and go back to the old ways. And we need to have that new system put in place before the old system completely crashes. We need to have everything in line and everything in place and really build up and work up on it before the old system crashes. And let me tell you something, as far as making change in the schools, if you want to really make change, pull your kids out of public school. Pull them out of public school. And if you're a teacher or aide or whatever, quit your job, go somewhere else. Because that is what is going to change them the most, if they are going to change. This is going to change them more than anything. And when their numbers drop and their enrollment drops and their funding starts getting cut back, then they're going to go, okay, hold on a second, what happened? But y'all got to pull your kids. You have to. And I know it's difficult, and I know it's easy for me to say because my kids are already graduated. I get that. But there are so many different schooling pods and freedom type schools and things like that that are popping up that are very accommodating. And I think that we really need to look into that. And as a community, we need to support our neighbors who have kids. Maybe we don't have kids, but maybe our neighbors that have kids that they have to work and they need a little bit of help picking somebody up, dropping somebody off, watching them after school, tutoring, whatever the situation. That's where we come in as a community and we start helping each other. That's what it means to be a community and help each other. So that's what I have to talk about. I think we need to be looking at a new system, period, end of story, in all aspects. Get your communities together, because that is the most important thing. Get your communities together and your networks built, not just for providing food or services, but schooling as well, because you might not have children, but your neighbor's going to have children, or your family member's going to have children, and they're going to need help with whatever. So need to start looking at a new system, get rid of the old before it crashes totally. So that's what I have to talk about tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful, amazing night. Once again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.